Hi everyone, my name is Arian Hawks, and today my workshop is called Teaching with Grace: How Poverty Shapes Student Behavior, Confidence, and School Success. As the title suggests, we're going to touch on three topics: how poverty affects academic confidence, how it plays a role in behavior and causes stress, and intersectionality. I chose poverty as my main focus because my cousin is who I interviewed, really opened my eyes to what a lot of students might be carrying with them when they walk into a classroom. Okay, so I chose this topic because my cousin's story, it changed the way I think about teaching. She grew up in a low-income household, and hearing her talk about how it shaped her confidence, her choices, and even how she acted in school made me realize how much is going on underneath the surface for a lot of kids. And as a future teacher, currently I'm a preschool teacher, I don't want to misread behavior or shut down a kid without understanding what they might be dealing with at home. She gave me advice about patience and grace, and it really stuck with me. Okay, so my cousin, she grew up in a low-income Black Hispanic family. She told me that she honestly didn't realize her family was different until she got to college. Her college classmates had their parents visiting them, paying their bills, helping them with tuition, while she was working and surviving on her own. That made her feel stunted and not good enough. She also said her choice of major wasn't even about passion, it was about never wanting to be poor again. She talked about wishing that there were after-school programs that combined food and literacy support, because hunger and lack of resources holds kids back the most. And her advice to me as a future teacher was that kids don't act out because they're bad. It could be that they're tired, hungry, or dealing with unstable homes. It's just a reminder to look deeper, and it really stuck with me. Okay. So first off, I'm going to talk about how poverty can affect academic confidence. One study I found showed that kids from neighborhoods that have low socioeconomic status, also known as low SES, often face early academic risk, especially in phonics and early learning skills, unless they have a strong prosocial support system. That just reminded me of how my cousin said she entered college already feeling behind compared to her peers. Food insecurity and financial pressure also directly harm academic performance. One study I picked showed that students in communities with fewer food resources struggle more with concentration, behavior, and overall achievement. Another study found that low-income Black and Hispanic students often internalize low expectations, both because of financial stress and because of teacher assumptions. This fits my cousin's story of feeling isolated, unsupported, and choosing her major based on survival instead of passion. When you're constantly comparing yourself to financially stable classmates, it will make you question your own abilities. Okay? All right, next I want to talk about how poverty affects behavior and causes stress. One study I found said that food insecurity leads to irritability, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating, which are often interpreted as quote-unquote bad behavior. Students from low-income households and high-stress environments show more emotional regulation challenges, not because they're disrespectful, but because they're under chronic strain. Another study I found also showed that prosocial support, things like kindness, emotional safety, and stable relationships, protect kids in low SES communities from behavioral risks. It's shown that after-school programs that combine food, structure, and physical activity and literacy support significantly improve engagement and motivation. All of this matches exactly what my cousin told me. Kids aren't acting out because they're bad. They can be hungry, exhausted, or overwhelmed. And those unmet needs will show up in the classroom. Okay. So now I want to talk about intersectionality and how it ties into education. Intersectionality is how race, class, and family background overlap to shape educational opportunities. A study found that low-income Black and Hispanic students experience a stronger impact from teacher expectations and racial biases. Their sense of belonging and academic confidence is shaped not just by poverty, but how their racial and cultural identities are perceived in school. This connected directly to my cousin's experience navigating mostly white engineering spaces in college while lacking financial and emotional support. Additionally, another study found that teacher-student relationships matter even more for behaviorally at-risk, low-income African American youth. Warm, supportive relationships protect against depression, withdrawal, and behavioral struggles. Another study highlighted that structural barriers like neighborhood SES and early academic disadvantages, they compound over time. After-school programs can help bridge these gaps with food, structure, belonging, and academic help. All of this just reinforces that low-income students, they're not just facing financial challenges. They're also navigating layered systems of inequality against race, class, and cultural expectations. Okay, now let's talk about what teachers can do. For teachers, the research I did and my cousin's advice both point to the same thing. Look beyond the behavior. Instead of assuming a student is lazy or disrespectful, ask what need isn't being met. Are they hungry, exhausted, stressed? And is instability causing them to have behavioral issues in the classroom? Teachers can make a huge difference by building trust, offering consistent routines, and connecting students to resources like food programs or tutoring. And most importantly, every teacher should approach every child with patience and grace. My cousin reminded me that school might be the only stable place a child has, so how you respond to them can really matter. All right, so in conclusion, poverty shapes students in ways that aren't always visible. It impacts their confidence, their behavior, and even what they believe is possible for themselves. Students are carrying so much with them into the classroom, and as teachers, we can help lighten that load. The biggest message my cousin left me with was simple. As the title suggests, have patience and grace. There's almost always a reason behind a child's behavior, and when we respond with empathy, we can create a place where students feel safe, supported, and capable. That is all. Thank you.